guys, how you doing? This is Manga, etc. And I'm here today to bring the review for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 293. And now, in a nutshell, this is all this chapter is about is Shiggy basically regaining consciousness. Kind of. Because at the end of the day, it is all for one. And now, it's basically the turnaround, if you will, because for right now, for before this chapter, it seemed like the heroes had the high ground. You know, they were leading the charge. They were on track to victory. But now that Shiggy is back in consciousness via All for One, basically, um, this is essentially, I guess, where they get their escape. And now, at the very beginning of the chapter, we are told what the fourth holder of the All for One, One for All for One, the All for One, no, the One for All, sorry, what his quirk was. And now the chapter says, you know, quote unquote, danger sense. So I'm trying to think, little Spidey sense kind of thing. Spidey says maybe a little observation haki kind of vibe. That's the way I'm thinking that this thing is going to kind of roll out. Kind of like a Spidey sense, observation haki kind of vibe. And now, granted, it wasn't a quirk I even considered. It doesn't seem like it wasn't something I thought he was gonna get. And now that I know that he has it, I think it's a good move. So right now he's got his immense strength that he gets from his quirk originally. He's got Black Whip. Uh, that doesn't really add to his power. It adds to his diversity. He can do more long range stuff with that. With that having that, he's got the ability to fly. Again, that doesn't really add to his strength, but it makes him more versatile. He's capable of more movements. This way, like airborne and stuff like that. And wait, hold on. Yeah, Black Whip, float. His strength, with the original, with the strength. And now this, the fourth one, which will give him kind of like I've been saying, hacky slash spidey sensey kind of vibe. And right now he doesn't have control of it. It kind of spontaneously happens. When he can kind of learn it, it would be like having observation haki for One Piece fan. I'm talking about spidey senses where he can sense danger coming. And so if that's a thing, then fair play. I don't really think that adds to his strength as well. But again, it gives him more of a combat savvy. At the end of the day, no matter what the quirk, the fact that Deku will have so many will make him OP anyway. But I think so far, basically what I'm trying to get at here is that I think that so far they're giving him quirks that won't make him too OP at the end of the day. So that's what I'm basically trying to say here. So, like I previously mentioned earlier, it seemed like the heroes had the high ground, and we learn more about Mr. Compression's his final charge, if you will, his final attempts at helping his master. I think he's dead. If he's not dead, he does die. But his final charge and what he does to help his boys, his League of Villains, get away from this from this current predicament, and he essentially achieves what he wants to do, because in a sense Shiggy regains his conscience, maybe for a second, because I feel like Shiggy would have had to have regained his consciousness at least for a second, and I think that's told to us, the audience, via the placing of the hand on the face. And we know how Shiggy feels about his hands. And now I feel like if it was just about All for One taking over his body, then it would have then that whole hand thing would have been necessary. So I think that the fact that we got that panel, and it's a pretty big panel as well, I feel that like he was there for a second. And something else that happens at the end of the chapter can emphasizes that as well. But we do know uh, one for all, no, all for one, sorry, does take over because he starts to refer to Shiggy when he's speaking through Shiggy's body. And now is that he takes over. He's like, you guys, I'm out until we meet again. Deku, see a kind of vibe. And now the chapter does end off with Deku being blown back. And in this instance, Deku says the same thing that he said to Baku back in chapter 2, definitely episode 2. Definitely episode 2 as well, when he said that it looked like Shiggy needed to be saved. And so it just got me thinking, because I want it to be a thing where Shiggy replaces what All for One and he becomes the new All for One, not having the original guy, um, not having the original One for One take over Shiggy's body. And I know at the end of the day, it's all about one for all versus all for one, but we don't have the original one for all taking over Deku's body and doing the day that way. We have the current one, Deku, fighting the battle. So I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, Deku will save Shiggy before defeating Shiggy. And I simply think that because of that one line at the very end, and that is the second thing that makes me think that Shiggy had to have regained his own consciousness at least for a second. Because if Deku can see Shiggy and say, "Yo, like I can see that he needs to be saved," then he had to have been there for at least a bit. That's my thinking, at least. And that's everything I got to say. I'm gonna give this chapter a 3-star rating according to you. Like always, guys, I'm asking for your thoughts and opinions. If you haven't already, please go to my YouTube channel. But most importantly, take care. Have a nice day.